Josh, how are you?
Morning, brother. How are you?
Look at us two specky guys.
Makes us look that 1% smarter, doesn't it?
I recently only got these. I finally bought some fancy glasses. I don't know how blind you are, but I'm very blind.
I'm getting worse. Yeah.
So I'm minus 5.9 in my eyes, and which is like, I think you're disabled at 7.
Mine aren't that bad. I've got stigmatism, so
Oh yeah, I've got the same. Join the club, man.
so yeah. I mean, I'm only wearing blue light blockers at the minute because it seems to shrink it, but no, it's my eyes are definitely getting worse.
Like, give it another few years, we'll be like, fuck, I can barely see you.
I'm as blind as us, man.
When we start sticking on these Apple like Vision Pros, then we'll really get blind.
Well, yeah, exactly. Had a good week, my friend.
Yeah, I think, obviously we make it as a podcast and we put it live, but it's like a genuine catch up as well. So
Exactly.
it's like a busy week, so it's nice to see what's been happening. But this week, obviously Alex, who we both know, he's now moving to London, so he's going to be in the office now.
Excellent.
So we're going to stick on another desk in the office. I'm excited to keep adding on more desks.
Yeah.
I worked out with this building now that we can actually use this building for a lot of hosting our workshops. So we can start inviting companies down.
Perfect.
And we've got half the building free where we can invite even up to 20, 30 people down and run workshops for the business as well. So that's super exciting. So that was one thing that I was working out.
Amazing.
Other thing, I got a new media buyer who's helping me out. So then I'm going to be starting my ads from this week. Just recorded loads of ads. But do you know if you saw on ads? Do you see Hormozi's ads?
I've started to actually the school games ones.
Yeah. Did you see the ad which is like, what's your email? And he's like pops out on the screen.
Yeah, I've not seen that one. No, I've seen the one where he's got it's a financial figure and it's got God knows how many zeros on the end of it. I've seen that one. I've seen a couple more as well, but yeah, I've not seen that one.
His ads are really good. I just love watching them. It's great to like.
Well, to studying, great. That's what he says in his book, right? Just get in the habit of studying other people's ads and what they're doing and how they grab your attention. So yeah, it's good to see.
And what I found is, there's two communities online, and the ones that merge the two are the ones that make a lot of money. So community one is a business built on ads, and they've not got a personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
Community number two is, there is more than one. It's not binary, one or the other. And there's community two, which is mainly the fitness industry that we know, that comes from content marketing and trying to get viral and trying to just get that one reel to work, to then monetize the audience towards a link and to buy pro coaching or services. And I used to always think, like maybe a year and a half ago, I used to think, well, why would you want to run ads when you can just do it for free, when you can just make content? And then only after learning properly, I actually realized that it's the ones who combine both, who actually know both at the highest level, ads, which is obviously funnels, copy, everything on that side.
Yes.
And then on the content, understanding personal brand. And you combine both for this one perfect recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So which one, you've been doing both for businesses. What differences have you seen in the mindset of people? Not in the, we obviously know both can work, but which ones have you seen in the mindset of people?
I always like to start organic, just because I believe that you should know what you're doing before you put paid ads actually into it and start losing money. I've been there before where I've started companies and just started with ads like immediately before I've even tested the market. And organic's a great way to, like I've just mentioned, to test your ad creatives, to test what actually works, what people are actually interested, what hooks are actually like great to pull people in.
Yeah.
So I always test everything organically anyway and try and exhaust that as much as possible. I mean, my online fitness coaching company was doing $20,000 a month with not a single penny spent on paid ads. That was all organic. And then we started to introduce paid ads after that. So the potential that you have organically, I think a lot of people are lazy these days to kind of exhaust that before they go into paid ads.
I wouldn't actually label it lazy, and obviously it's good to have different opinions because
of course.
I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's lazy because learning ads and doing it properly is a skill. And to be good at it, you have to learn how to optimize pages, how to write the copy, how to make good VSL, and how to
Right.
catch people with all the right hooks, and learning all the data side and running the ads as well. So that's a skill. And then doing content is also a skill, how to trim the clip, how to edit, how to do every part of that to
Yeah.
build an audience, and also knowing how to come across properly so you can build a long-term audience, not ask too much and not sell too much. But one is very selling very early because you're paying for it, so you just have to sell.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I think if I wanted speed and I needed high ticket and I needed money in today, I would go for paid.
Yes.
Because and if I had a budget, so if I had money, so if I was young and I had no money, I would start with organic. If I had a bit of money, I would master paid because then I can speed up what I'm doing with organic. But either way, you have to learn organic.
So there's two answers there, and there's two different scenarios to those answers as well. So the scenario one that I spoke about there, and I agree with you, by the way, the scenario that I spoke about is a complete beginner. So no experience, no nothing. You're new to the industry, new to business, new to everything. I strongly recommend organic first. Whereas someone like yourself, who's you're not that old, but you've been around the block like a lot longer than most. You've had a lot more experience. You can start a business and go straight into paid ads because you've got the knowledge behind it as well, and you know that paid ads is a skill set. Whereas most people don't know that paid ads is a skill set. They just think that they can throw money at something and get money back. So completely different scenarios.
The amount of mechanisms you need to know with paid ads is far more because you need to know after the lead comes in, how you're going to call it, what system you're going to have, what emails you're going to have, what sequences you're going to have. So the learning curve for the technical side is far higher.
Exactly.
So, and obviously if you can learn it and you've got the money behind you and you can sell, then I think if you can put brand on top of that, it supercharges it.
Oh yeah. Best word to describe it, supercharges it, and that's it. It's so much bigger than just boosting a post. And this is what most people I think you speak to a lot more, and you help a lot more advanced people within business. I'm kind of towards that startup end up to like the 20,000-30,000 pounds per month mark. Whereas a lot of the people that I speak to, they just think paid ads is just throwing money into something. They don't even have the knowledge that it is a skill to learn yet. So that's the difference between the two.
Well, there's no difference there's no wrong with the avatar because look at Iman Ghazi. He's got almost a 9-figure business, or he says it's like 80 odd million, and he's targeting people who are the 0 to 10K. So you can build a business off that avatar. So I think I moved toward more of a sophisticated customer because I enjoy talking that language and I enjoy doing that business. But for the people that just want to make money and want to sell a course, I think if you are smart enough and you know how to target younger guys, the same as Tate did, the same as Iman Ghazi, there's a reason why these guys blow up so big is because they know the most influential audience is the young audience.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
It's they're there to be influenced.
Everybody is.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I just seen this crazy interview. I've not seen much of Tate or anything. It's like it's gone so quiet. And I don't know if this will get as our podcast. Do you like to mention the guy? I don't even know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're fine. You own it. Do what you want.
Okay, sick. So I've seen an interview come up with Katie Hopkins and Andrew Tate, and I
watched it yesterday.
And I just thought this is the most bizarre interview. So I watched the first 25, 30 minutes, then I skimmed, and then I forwarded on to the Muslim bit. I forwarded on because he's Muslim, and I could tell they wanted to argue, but they didn't because they were so cordial. They were they were so pally. But I found their friendship really strange. It felt like it just because one person's super hated by everyone that I know. And one person is super liked by all the guys, so it just felt like a strange combination that they were getting along so well.
Yeah. It was a conversation around just them being a minority of hatred or backlash, or it was just I think it was more a conversation for them to make themselves feel better about what they've personally been through.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that they felt like they wasn't on their own,
The
and someone
victims were
else.
gathering together.
Yeah. That's what it felt like anyway.
But whilst listening to it, the reason why I stopped listening to it was when I was about halfway through and I folded it on a little bit, I thought, this interview is doing nothing towards my learning. It felt like a waste of time whilst listening to it. So I was thinking, this interview here is doing nothing towards moving me forward. Because I don't care about any of that politics that they were talking about. I just care about, I'm in a season of learning. And a season of learning and implementing with speed. Do you know, I'm someone who I don't see something once and learn it and implement it very fast. So what I actually do is I play the same thing over and over again whilst
Right. Okay.
like when I'm brushing my teeth, when I'm having a shower, when I'm in the house, when I'm making food, the same podcast or the same thing that I need to learn is constantly playing, because that's how I learn. I don't learn, which is like, I read a book, great, I'm going to implement. I'm just not that good. So I have to learn by continuously playing the same things over and over again, almost brainwashing myself into thinking, oh, that's what I need to do.
Yes, yeah. Have you you've probably not seen it off the back of what you just said, but there was a podcast with a guy called Dodge Woodall.
I don't know what
He does a podcast called the Eventful Lives, I think it's called.
Yeah.
But he speaks to a lot of interesting characters. And there was this one guy who was in the military that he had a podcast with, and he speaks about white matter in your head and how fast you can actually learn and adapt to like new things. And this particular example, it was about languages like learning Russian and learning Arabic. And he said he learned Russian first and it was incredibly difficult, but during that process, it actually opened up a lot of this white matter in your head. And then he learned Arabic really quickly, which I found really interesting. So he almost forced himself through that difficult sort of learning phase as someone that didn't really pick up knowledge that well for a period of time. And then learning something new after that became easier and then easier and easier. I found that conversation really interesting.
So he wasn't learning Arabic. What was he actually around at that time, or how did he pick up Arabic?
So he was obviously in the army. He was an interpreter. So he's English. He's Welsh. He's not English. He's Welsh. Sorry. So he speaks English, and he was learning Russian first in the military. Found it really, really difficult. Learned Russian and then learned Arabic. Then was obviously told to learn Arabic. So he found that really easy. Because the learning capabilities that he'd expanded from learning Russian.
Yeah, I can relate to that, because it's almost as if the more you start to learn, because I often say to people, I was stupid for a long time.
Yeah.
Because, and then like, let's say in my early 20s, I was quite stupid, quite naive. And as I started to get the ball rolling, the ability to learn improved.
Yes, correct.
And I've recently seen this tool, which is like this band on your brain that you just put on, you put it around your head. And it's called Morphe or something. I need to remember the name. So you put the band around your head and it's a game. So you look at it on your phone and you concentrate on the ball and it goes higher and higher. And as soon as you break concentration, the ball drops.
Right.
So it gamifies your concentration level and allows you to improve it. So I've seen a lot of people work on this at the moment. It's quite a new thing, I think, where they're looking at their phone and the ball's going higher and higher and they're getting a score. And as soon as your brain switches off for just a second and it loses focus on the ball drops like immediately, like really fast. And it's a way to train your brain to focus and concentrate.
Yeah.
Because when I work in the morning, like everyone says, oh, I do deep work, but I get to my desk at 6 o'clock, 6:15, and then I'll concentrate for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I lose concentration. And then like I'm back in. But now, only this week, I think I managed to do a 90-minute or 2-hour block where I didn't look away from my screen. So like I have to work longer. So I'm in the office from 6 till 8 p.m. But I have to work longer only because my concentration still needs improving.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the way that people learn is like very, very different. I mean, I don't really talk about it, but I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 26, like 3 years ago. So as an adult, but looking back, I always had it, and I was so fortunate in the way that I was raised, where like my grandmother used to get me coming home from school. She used to write out like math sums, and I couldn't do anything until I'd actually finished the sheet. and it kind of programmed my, and she used to do the same with like a book as well. You can't put the book down until you finish the chapter. So I've never ever started anything and left it half done or left it 10%. So even like another example, like a couple of Christmases ago, I got bought like a Lego set. I know as an adult, I know that was a couple of years ago, but I literally sat there for 5 hours from start to finish and built the whole thing because I can't leave it unfinished. And that's really, really helped me like over the years, especially when it comes to like reading books or like either watching a podcast or listening to an audio book, because I just can't, it stresses me out because I know that I've actually left it unfinished, and then I have to almost start again to complete it again. So yeah, I find all of this stuff, like I'm starting to find it really, really fascinating.
I think that's a really good skill. Like if you naturally have that as well, if you use it towards like as a superpower. I used to label myself as, oh, I can't concentrate, I can't pass my GCSEs because I don't concentrate. But the truth is, when I look back, I used to play my PSP for 3-4 hours at a time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It wasn't concentration, it was just what I was interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's it. You're so interested in obviously self-development right now. You're in your lane, you're all in that field. So naturally everything around that, like a podcast, like the conversation, you're not necessarily going to be that interested. But it's something that you'll probably dedicate more focus and more attention to that than anybody else.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so I want to talk about something which is called the sale before the sale. So as you know, like you're from a sales background, all I do is sales. So it's this concept of the sale before the sale, which is everyone believes you sell on the call. And it is right, you do sell on the call. Yeah. And when someone comes onto the call, your goal should actually be to warm them up as much as possible with your sales process. So, and my sales process has recently changed in how I approach everything. So most people would say, make content or run ads towards a link, and then they head over somewhere. But what I've done is something quite different. I have made my YouTube the number one place for my business. So I'm uploading 4 times a week and uploading everything that I know into YouTube.
Incredible. And
then all of my knowledge goes in there into deep tactical videos. Some of the videos that we're making now are going to be an hour long. And so one of them I've planned recently is an hour and a half. It might even be a longer VSL video on my YouTube. And then my YouTube, it will link in the description going towards the longer hour and a half video all about how you do this thing that I do for companies.
Yeah.
And then, so if you look at Iman Ghazini, if you look at like Hamza, their link in their description sends you to a longer video about what they do with their like audience.
Yes.
And the reason why this works really effectively is because it's a trust economy and people don't really trust as much. They need to consume a lot more of your content. So it doesn't really matter how many followers, subscribers, or if you're viral or not. If someone finds you and they find value and they watch you for more and more hours, and then through the link, they head over to your booking link after that, after consuming 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of your YouTube.
Yep.
When they turn up to the call, you will have your selling skills. They need to be there as a base because you can influence a bigger ticket sale. But the amount of objections you will get will be like close to none because you covered all those objections that they would feel emotionally through your content.
Yes.
In the deeper content. So that's why like this podcast is really useful. Right now it'll sit on a separate channel, the Guided Growth podcast for us.
Yeah.
We've not actually labeled it a podcast. I don't know what it is actually.
No,
we'll label it one day.
We'll name it one day.
It's episode 4. We're going to label it one day. It'll be something.
Yeah.
But I think if someone is listening, I think it's a good lesson for people because just start and worry about labeling something later. So literally just start, do 50 or 100 episodes of something before you're saying like you are doing this thing. Actually just start, which is what we actually did without any second guessing ourselves. But the sale before the sale is what I've really been building now, and how there is a landing page and an opt-in page. It goes there from YouTube. You can get a lead magnet and it'll take you to the opt-in page, or you can click on the opt-in page straight from an ad. And by doing both together, I will be reporting back week on week on how those are doing. So I'll report back on stats and figures.
Yeah, well, it's making your life easier when it comes to close. I think that's the biggest sort of takeaway from that. And it's only something that I really realized. I'm quite new to making the sale a lot easier, the sale before the sale. I've always been that closer that's going up an uphill battle the entire consultation call to kind of get that sale over the line. But you are right. If I look at myself from a consumer perspective, the people that I've invested in are the people who have had YouTube channels, the people where I've actually seen their long form content, where I've actually seen their personality, I've actually seen what they're like. I've seen a lot more about them, because obviously short form, you can create it and you can have so many takes and whatnot. And the great thing about this conversation, this podcast that we're doing right now, you can see both of our personalities. You can see exactly what we're like, raw, unedited. Like this is just me and you, and this is our conversation. These are our two different views, our two different skill sets.
Yeah.
And that's it truly does build trust, because I mean, how many people that are watching this watch as a YouTuber and you feel like you know them personally? Yeah. So when you do see them in person, it doesn't feel like you're talking to a celebrity, so to speak. It feels like you talk to someone that you already know.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing that has helped me a lot is I don't think about growth the same. So I don't think like, so my YouTube channel right now is quite small, but I don't think of, I need to get to, obviously we have some metrics. I'm trying to put some KPIs in place to work towards and have like a scorecard. But like, I'm just trying to enjoy making, because if you listen to Naval, have you heard of the guy Naval? He's like a philosopher. So this guy, he talks about the infinite game, and the infinite game is just enjoying what you're doing. So if I stop thinking about this podcast becoming a certain amount of followers and subscribers, which we've never spoken about, by the way, and I don't think we need to, because if the infinite game is just having a chat and just speaking, that's how you win.
Yeah, I look forward to this every week.
Yeah, lovely. Me too.
Get to see your beautiful face every week.
And the infinite game is all about playing a game that you just enjoy. I enjoy selling. I enjoy training businesses. I'm only doing what I enjoy, and that is the infinite game. Because how can I lose if deep down I love sitting at my desk and working, like sitting at my desk and just looking at the screen. And then when I need to go to the gym, I'll go to the gym. If I design my life as if I enjoy every part of it, how can anyone judge your life? And then how can, like, you can't lose.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I just think about that a lot.
Yeah, completely. It's that I've had this conversation a lot recently, especially I've launched my journal last night.
Okay, actually. Big news.
And so
I need like some sort of like
some party poppers. Launched my journal last evening, and like part of the email sequence off the back of that to really help people out use that is being selfless, being selfish to be selfless. And actually protecting your no's and learning how to say the word no to actually protect your yeses and protect the people around you as well. And something that I actually teach for that is like to actually wipe your diary completely clean and put in there the things that you want to do, the things that make you happy, the things that motivate you, the things that get you excited first, and then build everything else around it. Whereas most people do the complete opposite, because they feel chained to have to pay their mortgage or pay their bills or spend time with their partner or but the problem is the quality of that time when it's prioritized that way around just isn't there. It isn't there, and it creates demotivation. It creates that person to be unhappy, just not themselves and not living up to their potential. So yeah, it's something I actually talk about quite a lot.
So how did your launch go? What did the launch, was it all about, because you said the journal, so was the journal the launch or was it something else?
Yeah, journal's the launch. So I just did a private behind the scenes launch to start with. Just the contacts that I've built over the years, and yeah, I think overnight we've had like 12, 13 orders already, which isn't huge. But the VSL is still in the process of like getting ready and raring to go. I've only done 100 copies just to start with.
Well, there's 13 people there that you can influence, and if those 13 people tell another 13 people, what happens?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's going to be exciting what happens when I have to go public with it. But yeah, I just wanted to do a bit of a behind the scenes, because it's I just wanted to see with the contacts and people that I've built over the years what sort of feedback I can get. Because that's for me the most important thing, just collecting that feedback at the start of this and just trying to make it as good as possible.
And look, you know that you can promote that diary in two different ways. So you can go online and you can take your t-shirt off, walk around Marbella and run around with your journal in your hand and put that content online. But what will happen? You will get far more clicks, far more views.
Yeah.
Or option two, that you make content true to you and make like non-viral content, which is more like education content.
True.
Obviously, the experts out there know how to combine the two, which it is a formula. But it's like you got to stay true to your values. Like I posted, do you see that story that I posted with the guy who's promoting a house and he's running around like a prat around the house? It's like, why are you doing that? It's not going to find you the right people.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm starting to learn a lot from yourself in regards to just being a lot more numbers focused, a lot more analytical. And it's like yesterday, I sent 50 personalized messages and got 12, 13 orders. So look at the percentage of that. It's pretty damn good. So I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what it's going to entail, the feedback I get, how I can improve it. And then obviously tracking the upsells off the back of it as well. So yeah, I can't wait.
It's really good. And like the journal itself, what problem does it fix?
So the biggest, it's called the Momentum Journal. So it fixes stagnant business owners who are just working really hard, but they're kind of just running through quicksand. They're not seeing any progress. They're not getting anywhere. They're comparing themselves to people online, and they're just not making any progress, any momentum whatsoever. So what it actually does is it's not like most journals, because I've tested so many in regards to like researching this. Most journals just fill the whole journal up with complete fluff that you don't actually need, and it's not geared towards a business owner. Someone who's busy doesn't want to be journaling for 10, 20 minutes every single morning. It needs to be 30 seconds. It needs to be quick. It needs to be actionable steps with intent that actually moves them forward. So there's literally just 3 tasks in it every single morning. So task number 1 is like, how fired up are you for the day? Like, get excited for the day. Get excited for about what's to actually come, because your mood dictates everything. Second thing is write down 3 tasks that you're going to do and when. So non-negotiable. So we don't have a huge to-do list. Most people write a huge to-do list and don't do half of them anyway, and then feel like they've failed at the end of the day. 3 main things that you need to move forward with that day as a non-negotiable and when. And then the most important thing is the one thing that you're going to say no to today. And the rule is, across the 90 days of the journal, you have to write down that one thing that you're going to say no to, the same thing, every single day. Because everyone knows that one thing that holds them back. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be takeaway, it could be a certain person. There's always that one thing that deep down really, really holds you back. For me, it was alcohol. Not like it was like a crazy problem, but I would have like 2 or 3 drinks on a regular basis. And then I wake up not necessarily feeling myself, or it might put me off my training, or it just throw me off my game. So when I did that, it helped out massively. So yeah, those 3 combined just really, really help build momentum moving forward. And then there's obviously teachings and courses off the back of it as well to help business owners kind of finally move through those barriers.
Someone once gave me this thing, that Legend Planner. Have you heard of it?
I've not heard of the Legend Planner, no.
Well, I didn't use it for literally someone sent it to me, and it was like, I looked at it and I thought it was asking me so many questions.
Good.
And I just didn't find it useful. The questions didn't really relate to me. But I don't do a journal for my staff, but what I've done is for my team, I've got like a jot form, and it gets sent to them at the end of the day. And they get asked every day on how they found their day, how productive they've been. It's not to manage them, but the second last question in the type form for the staff, which is for them to complete every single day before they finish their shift, it is, if you were your own high performance coach, what would you tell yourself and how would you coach yourself? And so I've designed the form to be a self-coaching, because as you have remote teams, you can't just have meetings every day. Because if let's say I have like a manager who's getting paid £50 an hour and 3 other staff that are getting paid £25 an hour, that's £125 to host a meeting. So the cost, and then if I turn up to the meeting, then it's putting the price up of that meeting even higher. So have as meetings as essential, but then rather than just becoming a bloated company that just has meetings and chats all the time, which are most companies in London, that's all they do. Which is like, let's have a meeting about that. And I'm thinking, you're just having meetings just to discuss nothing. And I'll talk to you about how Jeff Bezos does his meetings, because it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And then if I do that if I send that jot form out, and they fill it out, they coach themselves, and you tend to find that if you look over their forms over the course of a week, they can self-correct. And rather than being a micromanager, just that one form allows someone to self-manage themselves, which is how you build great people who can self-manage themselves. And that's what that form is for. So I just send it out and it self-manages them.
Yeah,
and you can do that for yourself. So if you're someone who doesn't have a team, you can actually fill it out yourself every day. And then you can reflect, which is similar to your journal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, self-reflection is the most important thing. That you can't tell somebody to do something; they've got to action it themselves.
Yeah,
you could be the best coach on the planet, but unless they understand, unless they internally can make those changes, then it's all pointless. So yeah, you're completely right.
And I like how Jeff Bezos and Amazon do meetings is really good. So to stop them just having fluff meetings, a meeting happens when there's a Word document of everything that needs to be discussed in that meeting that goes out in advance. So everyone is to come to the meeting knowing what is to be discussed and what things need to be fixed on that meeting. So it's a full page document. Rather than saying, turn up to the call and be like, so how should we fix this issue? And if everyone has read the document, they come onto the call with solutions rather than, you know what, we'll discuss it next week on how we can fix it.
Fluff.
So think about if you have a business and every single meeting was not to fix things and move things to the next meeting, it was to discuss the solution and action points for the next day or that day. That's one thing. So think how much faster your business moves forward.
Yes.
And then the next thing you combine that with, you change the language of, I'll do it by the end of the week to the end of the day. Because if I never say I'll do it at the end of the week, as a business, we don't say that. So in my business, we have a value, which is we never say by the end of the week. So we always say we'll do it by the end of the day. And if we always do everything by the end of the day, our business moves 7 times quicker than everybody else's business. So, because think of how many tasks that you've given to someone, like a videographer or anything, and you'll say, can you get that done for me? Like, no problem. By the end of the week, that'll be in. Well, can you do it by the end of today? And when you just message that one thing, 80% of the time, the answer is, sure, I can, I'll get it to you. And then instantly your business is moving forward 7 times quicker than everybody else's.
Couldn't agree more. I like that. He does. Jeff Bezos makes, I think I saw a podcast with him. He does like 1 or 2 big decisions a day. That's it.
Oh, I love that you've mentioned that, because I've started to think about decision fatigue. So that is called decision fatigue. Do you want to talk about what you've heard from that, and then I can go a bit deeper into it?
Yeah, so it again, similar to what I mentioned earlier in regards to him being selfish before he's selfless. So he said on that podcast, I can't remember who it is with now, it's really bugging me, but I remember what he said. Like, he starts his morning with his kids because he really appreciates like that time in the morning, like having breakfast, like waking up. And he does all of his important meetings from 10 till 12, I believe it was, and then past 12 o'clock. He doesn't do any important meetings because he knows that he's got decision fatigue. So I can't remember his exact wording, but that's your wording. But yeah, he literally does 1 or 2 like big decisions, and that's all he needs to do because he doesn't have to be involved in everything. This is something I've been guilty of in the past, and I know a lot of business owners have, like, especially as you're scaling and bringing on teams, you have to allow that trust to come in to just let your team and let those experts do their thing.
Really good. And so the way Jeff Bezos mentions it in his interview is, I wake up in the morning and I putter. And the reason why he says I putter is, you think, well, he's doing nothing, he's just moving slow, he's reading a book. But if your mind is completely open, it allows you to get an idea. Because if I'm continuously playing, every time I play a podcast and I'm watching something, I might get an idea from that podcast, but I'm consuming something. So there's times where you just leave things open and they'll come to you from thinking, just like open, and not thinking too much. And so currently in my day, as I hire, I reduce the amount of decisions I make, because like think of if you have an account manager, and So I'm servicing my client, and if I have 10
Right.
clients that I'm managing, all 10 clients have different questions in a Slack channel. What should I do here? What should I do there? And for every single one of them, I would say, do this, try that, do this.
Yes.
These are all decisions that are being triggered in my brain.
Mhm.
When I hired an account manager and he's dealing with it all, now all I do is I coach one person to coach 10. So
Yeah.
the amount of decisions that my brain's made has been reduced.
Mhm.
Therefore, I can now focus on another part of my business and make more decisions there. And then the highest level of this is where you start buying back your time, because you hire
Yeah.
not to fill a gap in your business, but you hire to buy back your time. Because if you hire to buy back your time, you end up doing the other thing as well. You end up actually filling the empty spot in your business.
Mhm.
So it's actually combining the two of making less decisions and buying back your time continuously, because you know that you're the most valuable asset to your business, because you need to be able to do all these things as an overseer.
Yes. Well, who are your first, if you were to start your business from scratch, who are your first 3 hires?
Because I think brand is important now. I think having someone for editing, like having someone for all of your like content is a major one, which is why like a good creative manager, creative director is that if you're young and you're wanting to do something for a company, that I think is one of the best jobs to get into. But that would be one of my first hires, because I need to focus on the business, the product, the development, the sales, and then the leads need to be generated, the eyeballs need to be there. So then I win back hours of time by not editing, uploading, and doing all that stuff. Then the next person is going to be, so for most people, I would say sales, but I love selling, and I'll be selling for another 3 or 4 months before I bring in more sales reps, because I want to bring in more sales reps, but it's the last thing that I want to let go. Then I'll become like, for most business owners that have 5 or 6 sales reps, they hire a sales manager, but I believe the best founders can be sales managers up until they're so big that they manage a sales manager. But up until like 3 to 5 million, you can actually just be the sales manager as well. But going back to your question, I think marketing guy, so someone for your marketing, then someone who's your assistant admin, picking up all of your little things, like all the small things that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Then I would say, so you've got your admin, so you've won back your time with an assistant, you won back your time with your marketing, then you're going to win back your time maybe with your delivery, so an account manager to start helping you with your clients. So this is for me, so I can sell more and I can bring more business in whilst I get service. So what I've done is eyeballs have been produced, my little tasks have been covered for me, I won back my time so I can sell more and I can get more clients in. And the clients have been serviced.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. I thought I'd ask you that question, because obviously you're going through this process now where you're hiring, and really scaling up, which is amazing to see. But yeah, anyone kind of going through that process at the beginning, like where do they start, and which order that they actually bring people in? Because you'll need them all eventually. But yeah, the order matters.
A difference in opinions as well. So like in William Brown's book, it says hire a bookkeeper very early.
Yeah.
Well, like I just use a management accountant who just does my books for me every month. But eventually you do need an in-house bookkeeper when you have a lot of transactions happening. So it's like everyone has a different opinion. So most people might disagree with me or agree with me.
Let's talk about that book.
Okay.
Unless you had anything on the agenda, because I think we said we were going to talk about that book. You read it when you was away in Albania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think?
I think it's a great book for basic people. I wasn't sure, like, if it was before reading it. After the first few pages, I thought, "Is this a ChatGPT AI book?" But I just thought that because it was coming up with a topic and just going one paragraph on every topic. So what to do with the VSL and what to do with your sales, and like covering everything that a £10 million business needs, but not going deep on a certain thing. So I think it's really good for a beginner to think, what components do I need? It's not that tactical, because it can't be, because it doesn't teach you how to do one thing amazingly. Like Russell Brunson will have one book on one concept, on like the linchpin, how to do that thing.
Yes.
So it's I don't think it's a tactical book. I think it's a good book for a lot of guys who are in the info marketing space, thinking, how should I grow my business? What components do I need? And it
Yeah.
gives you all the components you need to be able to do your business. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
not as applicable for me because I feel like I know the components, and now it's more about doing everything
Yes. Yeah.
rather than someone who needs to learn all the components of the business.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was a very broad, almost very large to-do list, if that makes sense. So yeah, completely agree. Like really, really good for beginners and good for people looking to kind of get going, which is very contradictory because obviously the title is how to like 10 million. How to kind of get from that, but a lot of the things in there would actually massively benefit somebody who was starting from ground zero, like massively. Rather than someone I would say that is sort of 1 to 2 looking to get to 10. But yeah, it's good to have feedback on books that we're reading.
And every big movement starts with a book. So whether it's a religion or anything, if you have a book to start with, which I mentioned, I think maybe I mentioned this on the first episode, because if you have a book, you are seen as an authority. So like,
Yes.
when I look at anyone who's done anything big in sales, they had a book and then they propelled a career after that.
Yeah.
So like there is a time where a book has an authority because if you have a book and it's promoted, and so if you have a personal brand, you promote a book. The next thing is you say I'm a best-selling author because you got your audience to buy that book. And then also you can inflate book numbers very easily. But if you do that, then you combine personal brand, best-selling author, your authority moves up. Then you combine that with best-selling author, made millions in this. Then your credibility is self-engineered the same way as I can pay to go on Forbes. So if you pay enough money, you can be on the cover of Forbes. You can pay the right PR company. So fame and recognition is engineered as well as built.
Yes, and I also think it makes, I mean, this is my strategy right now, but I think it makes you stand out because if you've, in such a digital world, and especially the movement of AI in the last few years, that having something physical that you can actually hold, and this is why I've launched my journal, this is why I'm writing my book, I want people to physically hold something that I've gifted to them for free. And then, as you mentioned, the authority can actually kick in off the back of that. So yeah, that's my thought process as well. So I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
Yeah, we are. We're definitely on the same page. Okay, so we'll wrap up for today. And have you got like anything? If someone's watching this for the first time, what's your Instagram and everything?
Yeah, Instagram, Josh Dexter _ nice and easy, just my name and then underscore at the end. Yeah, probably the best way to reach me.
I'm pretty much called Usman Kiani on every platform. Some might say official, some might say just my name, but you'll find me anywhere. And like, if you want to share this podcast, if you want to, if you want to share this, not labeled a podcast, we've not labeled it yet. But if you share and comment, it's ideally is for someone who's trying to grow their online business, but trying to think in a way which is not viral. Like, how do I just get clicks? How do I actually listen to people who are doing it every single day, rather than how do you make this post and go viral and get loads of clicks and actually not build an authentic business? Where actually, how do you build a long business that might come across boring but is really effective? That's what we're doing.
Yeah, amen.
Okay, nice one, Josh. See you later.
Thank you, my friend.
Bye bye.